Up. All right, I'm live. Thank you for joining us for another live episode of the Live Clean and Fight Dirty podcast. Right here with your host, as usual, John Hackleman, and your co-host, Angelo Ferrer. Today, you saw the title, Should Martial Arts Training Make You a Better Person? There's an argument that I've seen online between different schools, traditional, quote unquote, and I'll hand this over to John in a bit, schools arguing that styles like karate and kung fu and have those Eastern roots somehow have a better mentorship program to make you a better person outside of training than the newer, more different styles like kickboxing, Muay Thai, and to some extent MMA and even Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That training in martial arts should make you a better person. And then I also pose the question, is that really the goal? Is the goal to make you a better person or a better fighter? As a coach, is that something you should be thinking about? You would not only want to train this person, but you also want to make them a good person in life. Is that necessary? I don't know. I'm going to hand this over to John and see what he thinks about it.
Yeah, I mean that's been around since I've been around. Boxing. I've been always boxing and kickboxing, and now MMA, obviously. And I'm involved in the traditional side too. I have a traditional martial arts school. We have a belt system. We have traditions. We have a culture. So I do both. It's kind of interesting because say half of my group, which is not half numbers wise, but say half of my group is MMA fighters, and half of them are training traditional martial arts. I don't really see a difference in the people as far as like in context of what art they train in. I don't think I used to hear a lot of when Tap Out came out. Tap Out had a real cool vibe, not a bully vibe or anything, just a really cool vibe. And a lot of the guys with martial arts, traditional guys, because I spent a lot of time with traditional martial arts instructors, and I go to the conventions and the seminars, and I hear that, oh yeah, he's wearing some board shorts and some Tap Out shirt. He's the wannabe tough guy, and I just didn't see that aspect. And I don't think telling a kid, like having they have in martial arts, a big thing is the kids systems are, there's different people that are consultants. I'm doing the fingers of martial arts schools, and how to make your school run better, and how to make it more profitable and more enticing for the parents, because you're not enticing in your marketing to the kids, you're enticing to the parents. The parents have the money. They're the ones that are going to sign up, but a lot of it is like the virtues, or the lessons, the life lessons. Like a lot of martial arts schools are teaching their curriculum, and then like every week, they'll be on a different life lesson, like friendship, teamwork, honesty, integrity, and all those. They'll pick a buzzword for that cycle or that week, and then the kid will go. They'll learn lessons, like they'll have a mat chat where the kids sit on the mat, and the instructor tells them how to be more virtuous, more honest, and a better person. And it's that, I mean, there's no downside to that. I'm sure they used to do that in our public school system until they stopped, and now they do all kind of creepy stuff and teach to our kids. But in the old days, the teachers, martial arts school teachers, were kind of like the teachers. We're trying to make the kids go the right way. But I don't think they do that in more of a way than a sport like kickboxing, boxing, or MMA. a lot of people argue the boxing, but you got to remember boxing comes up in boxing gyms are usually in bad areas. And when I say bad areas, it means high crime rates, low income, and violent. That's where most of the bad things happen in our country. And that seems to attract boxing gyms. Whereas kickboxing gyms, MMA gyms are usually in the more affluent areas. They're not rich areas, but they're more in the higher middle class areas. And MMA doesn't attract the kind of athlete that boxing does. Boxing is a little more known for being, in ghettos. It's more of a rowdy demographics. If you look at any of the top boxers of the past, 50 years or whatever, you're gonna probably the majority of the champions have come from bad areas, ghettos, where you look at the same amount of over MMA and look at their champions, they're middle class Americans, a lot of them, and huge majority of them are college educated. And then when you talk about kickboxing, a majority of kickboxers come from a karate type background. So when they come up, get a little older, maybe they don't want to do point fighting. They want to keep it a little more real. So, they choose kickboxing, but they're from nicer areas. So, I don't think traditional martial arts schools that teach traditional katas and stuff have a track record of producing better people, or less, like I said, less criminals and more, more virtuous. I don't think so. And I think having a word of the month or a word of the week and trying to, sit mat chats and stuff, I don't think that really makes somebody a better person any more than, or not even as much as, the hard, rigorous training, which makes the person a much better, that makes the kid a much better person, much more disciplined, much more self-confidence. He teaches them those life lessons, but the real way, not just sitting on a map and reading from a paper. They teach it to them in the real life, in other consequences. Like, if I drop my hand here, I'm going to get punched in the face. I mean, you can't get much more real than that. This guy, I don't like this guy, but he could beat me up. So he beats me up when we spar. So, you got to realize that's the way it is in life. Sometimes people you don't like are above you. They're your boss. They're your teacher. They're your supervisor. So they're beating you up. It's like a metaphor of life. Fighting is a metaphor of life, and it's much more real than somebody sitting on a mat reading from a piece of paper about the meaning of teamwork, right? What do you think? Boom.
Yeah, I didn't expect you to go almost Mr. Miyagi at the end there. So so yeah, I think
But with that said, let me just say, with that said, we don't do mat chats for my adults or my kids. But if one of my students, whether we're a kid or an adult, gets in a fight that they started, not defending themselves, they're out. They're kicked. I've kicked out UFC fighters because they got in a fight downtown that they started. If they're defending themselves, no way. They'll never get in trouble. But when I find out, if I do a little investigating and find out they started the fight, they're out. Okay. Now, with that said, like I said, defense they're never going to be in trouble. Even if they get in trouble at school for fighting, if they didn't start it, even if they threw the first strike, but the other person initiated it, they'll never get in trouble here. In fact, not only will I have at multiple occasions, I'll go down to the school and have a conference with a principal. So they'll never get in trouble for that. But they will, like I said. And right now, our kids, they have to bring home 2 pieces of paper before every belt, and one goes to the parents, and there's all the questions. Does he respect his parents? Does he respect his siblings? Does he listen? All these questions that have to be checked off, and then they say if they think they should get their belt or not. And we also send one. We also send a paper to their teacher, their homeroom teacher, and it has the same kind of questions. Does he ever? Have you ever seen him bully? Have you ever seen him disrespectful to other students? Is he ever disrespectful to you, and all those things? And we will not give the kid the belt if we have bad reports. So we're all about teaching life lessons, but we do it the real way, not just giving them a stripe on their belt every week because they learn to say they repeated yes sir, no sir. Now they're going to get one that says respect, right? We teach respect the real way and the way it's going to stick in their head. So that's that.
So now that being said, in your experience, and you kind of started touching on it already. You say you kicked out UFC fighters for starting fights.
Yeah.
Have you ever encountered non-virtuous schools or programs?
Yeah.
And what without putting anyone on blast or ending up in legal trouble, what did that look like?
Well, okay. It's. I think I didn't misunderstand your question, but I jumped on it. I don't know any. When you say schools, I mean people inside the school. So that'll be a yes. I have never seen one school like a Cobra Kai or whatever the mean school is supposed to be. I've never seen like that. We've had dojo wars back in the day where there's different schools that would go around on sparring day and rough up students from different gyms and stuff. And there's some gyms that were known for being, they're a little rougher and stuff. But I've never had a school where they would like go out and go do crimes or have disrespectful students or anything like that. So I've never seen that, even in the boxing, my boxing life, which I've been to some of the baddest. When I say baddest, I mean bad like criminal and bad like badass boxing gyms in the country, kickboxing gyms in the country, and MMA gyms in the world. So I've never seen one where I walk in and I felt like it was anything but polite and comforting and encouraging. I've never ever walked into a martial arts, boxing, kickboxing, or an MMA gym where that happened. So, but the traditional one is never more respectful than the MMA one. I've never I go into a martial arts gym, very traditional, with their gis and everything, and say out of the 30 students there, I'll interact with them. Say I'm doing a seminar, which I've done. Then I go to an MMA gym, some of the most famous ones in the world, ATT, AT&T or ATT, and I'll do a seminar there, 30 people. I get every bit or more respect from the MMA gym than I would the traditional gym, because their respect is forged and real, not just like parroted because that's what you're supposed to do. It's forced. It's forced. You're force fed it there in an MMA gym, right? If you're disrespectful or a bully, you're gonna get found out and reversed really quickly. You're gonna be put in your place very quickly. You can do that in a karate gym, and you might not. If you're a kid, you might be a bully kid, and but the other kids aren't going to hit you because they're doing little, like not real stuff. If you go into an MMA gym and the kids program does real stuff, and we got a guy that wants to be a bully, he'll get put in his place real quick, and next thing you know, that bully is not a bully anymore.
So I hate to, I'm answering my own question. I try to avoid doing that. I mean, in my experience, I've never walked into a place. All the places I've walked into, I didn't get a vibe of a bunch of criminals. Like I don't go I go to not such big gyms, so I've been to more of the shadier looking places in the shadier parts of town, if you know what I'm saying. When I'm close,
so have I.
They're not bad people though, like you just said. They're just cool. As I've been to small gyms, I've been to high schools. I've never seen it. Now I have heard stories. But usually it's not the gym itself. It's the students doing something outside of the gym. And I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm gonna follow my own advice about not putting any schools on blast. But I will say that a big Brazilian jiu-jitsu place that I train with, that's world renowned and known, had two issues. One issue was years ago. Some students, and they were wearing their gear too, they were wearing their hoodies so you can see the school's name on it. They got in a fight at a bar. There was a scuffle, and then they came back with a group of four students, and the fight continued, and they beat up some guy. And they put a mass newsletter out, kind of disowning those students and talking about how they don't approve that kind of behavior. And then there was another incident within the same school amongst two instructors at a big jiu-jitsu tournament where there was a disagreement. And one was a former instructor from that franchise and started his own school, and the other one was part of the one that I'm talking about. And there was a scuffle between the coaches, and one of the coaches ended up getting elbowed and put into the hospital. And again, there was a newsletter put out by that gym saying, not gym, by that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Association, letting their students know not to engage in any type of like revenge type of behavior, because it was like a school versus school thing. They didn't want to train that. So they put a giant newsletter saying, hey, if we find out that any of you go to the other school or out at tournaments start shit with the other school, we're going to kick you out. So they were very strict about that. They were letting them know there was not going to be any retaliation, that everything should be done through legal means and not through your fists. So that
Yeah.
was and again, and this is one of the bigger schools that have a lot of MMA fighters coming out of their place. And again, they were on it. You can't control that students to a certain extent. You can kick them out, like you said, but it's always after the fact. Like you can't I don't know. Can you? How's that my question? This is more of a coach, sensei question, instructor's question. Can you sometimes eye someone who you think has the potential to end up getting into a street fight, and do you nip that in the bud before it happens, or do you try to, like you said, try to correct them through your program to kind of lead them away from that kind of decision?
That would be a case by case. I mean, usually I have the kind of guys here because of my name and the name of the gym and the reputation. I get a lot of guys that I think are going to be kind of, you know, they could be kind of rowdy. But once they start training, if that guy is that way when he's training, he gets, like I said, he gets taught real quick, put in his place. And then if he carries on that kind of, I must have had that feeling for a reason. So whatever it was that he had, if it's not gone by the time he's the brown belt, he's not gonna go much further. He won't even make it to a brown belt with any kind of attitude at all. So if I felt like he might have been the kind of guy that was going to be in a street fight, I won't take him at all. But if for whatever reason he's close to the line and I do let him in, by the time he's a green belt, he's going to be a very respectful, polite guy. I guarantee you. So yeah. So I just don't. But I don't think the martial arts. I don't think you have to be, a traditional martial artist to reap the benefits for your parent. Say you're a parent for your kids, of respect and honor and dignity and hard work and focus and teamwork and all those things. Those are every bit as prevalent in a kickboxing school, an MMA school, and a kickboxing school. Kickboxing, yeah, or a wrestling place or a wrestling gym. Sometimes you think they're more, they might be a little rowdier because they're fucking wrestling around all days. There's guys with a lot of testosterone. There's nothing wrong with that. They're not going out looking for fights. They're just they're hyper, guys that like to get physical with each other. They don't want to create violence against innocent people. They don't want to commit any crimes. They're just wrestlers and boxers and kickboxers. I mean, we're just that's what we like to do. We're physical. We don't go around. We don't want to fight anybody that's not a fighter. We're just like, physical guys. We lay our hands on each other a lot. We goof around a lot. We don't get, it's just not that. It's not that. And I don't think they're any more like that than a traditional martial artist who went all the way through his ranks of, say, Shotokan karate from white to black belt. I don't think that guy is any more respectful or loyal or courteous than the MMA guy that's striving to fight in the UFC. I think a martial artist is a martial artist, and I think we're less likely to start violence than your average person. So it's statistically, it's the science, okay? It's the science.
Facts.
Because it's kind of like if you carry a gun around, like in a gun states are much less violent than non-gun states because everybody knows everybody has a gun. Who the fuck wants to start a fight with a guy who has a gun? You don't. So it's the same in the martial arts. Why would the fuck you want to pick on a guy that knows how to fight? You don't. And the person that does know how to fight, he's already been put in his place by the people at the gym. He knows now. He knows that he's what he can do, and he has confidence in it. He doesn't have anything to prove. So the traditional martial artist usually doesn't know what it's like to be in a real fight. Even by the time they get their black belt, most of them never been hit hard or hit at all, or put through a workout where they can't even breathe anymore. Or put in positions where it hurts so much they have to tap out and go through and try to fight through the pain. By the time they get their black belt, they know how to do fucking 30 katas, but they're less likely to avoid a fight than the MMA guy. But they're less likely to be able to effectively and efficiently defend themselves than the MMA guy or the kickboxer. So that's what I think. What we got?
For our comments. And then also, right now, I should probably let you know if you're watching this, we're getting to that wrap-up part where you can ask us anything about any other topic or anything that's on your mind or this topic itself, and I'll go ahead and relay that over to John. He can answer your questions about this topic or any question you have. Going down the list, Zen, hello. Welcome back, Zen. Thank you for joining us. John says, hi, I consider martial arts to be as ministry as self-defense. Bobby G says, hello, Bobby. I'm going to start my own gym. Awesome, man. Good luck with everything. Bobby G says, MMA became a sport. MMA should be but martial arts, MMA should be martial arts first with respect and discipline. And he also says he's Lion's Den, which is a Kajikembo school. It reminds him of Cobra Kai. But still, though, I mean, I know that I know John. Is it not? It's Jeff Muckalooly, who runs the Lion's Den out there. Is we're talking about a different Lion's Den, and if I am Bobby, just give it out. Let me know right now. There's probably a few different schools known. But yeah, those are the comments so far. If we have any questions, please ask. If not, I guess we can wrap it up. If there's no questions, which I don't see any, so I think that's it. Anything else you want to add? Are you good?
No, I'm good, man. That was a good one. That was good, quick, to the point.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us for another fabulous episode of the Live Clean and Fight Dirty podcast. Don't let anyone take your lunch money. If you want training, the Pit.tv. That's simple. Put it in there.
Pit.tv. Bing.
Boom. I don't know how you do those magical effects sometimes, man. Like right now you did this thing and all of a sudden, boom, fireworks. I wish I could do that. I don't have the magic hands. I don't know how you do Not the magic touch.
It's happening in my room too. What are you talking about? It's happening in this room.
In the room. This is not fireworks. Got the fireworks. Got the fireworks.
Anyway,
TV. You can join us for online classes available, spots available now. You can work through the ranks in the Pit Hawaiian Kempo system from white all the way to black. You do have to test in person for black, but you can work your way all the way through the ranks with this online program. So check it out. Next Wednesday, 4:30, new topic. Any questions you want to come up, please ask. That's right, Zen. Don't let anyone take your life money. Catch you all next.